Now, if I remember correctly, we were in, Oh, right, yes. The Flesh Caverns.
Hey, how far do we have to go?
Just a little farther. Stop your grousing.
Ven, nothing you say will change anything now. Let's just keep going.
I mean, it might. We could leave. We don't have to be in the Flesh Caverns.
This keep reminds me of some place I learned about at school. What was it called again?
What are you learning at school?
I can't remember.
You don't have to. Right now, the most we can do is follow along until our time here is up.
Standard jokes apply about what must school curricula be like in JRPG worlds. Just like complete nonsense in the history class.
So, here we are, back in Zarat Keep for part 2. Got a big skeleton party going on over here.
They are really interested in that chest.
That guy in the middle is fucking, like, that man is all about that chest. Like, if you go anywhere, like, even remotely close to the center of the arena, he will just instantly get up and fucking chase you all the way off the screen. It's great.
I'm assuming fighting them is out of the question.
Oh, absolutely. Let's go fuck him up.
I can't help but notice that several of them have disappeared.
Well, just look at it this way. The fact that we're only fighting 3 of them at once means that we now have, like, 12 opportunities to fight to break up the skeleton party, instead of just 1.
I mean, I guess, but I don't see why I would be thinking about it that way. Honestly, I'm starting to think that thinking about this in any kind of a way is just kind of a mistake.
Right, well, the Skeleton Warrior 2.0 has added Blinding Rancor, which does exactly what it sounds like. Being blind is kind of a pain in the ass because it makes 3/4 of your attacks miss and not do anything.
Standard.
These guys, thankfully, cannot revive each other, but, you know, they are enough of a pain to kill with their little blinding trick, so kind of evens out.
Win some, lose some.
Yeah, and, you know, everything in the second half of the dungeon has significantly higher stats and damage than the first half. We could go back if we wanted to. Like I said, we just rebuilt that one bridge that we started the other time, but, like, there's no reason to do that.
Once again, this just makes me try to apply way too much logic to silly JRPG settings. Like, we're gonna have a place, and we're gonna have, like, things guarding the place. Okay, like, that's very game design. But then we're gonna balance it such that halfway through the place, everything just gets way more powerful. Because the party is gonna be, like, somewhere else and do a bunch of other plot stuff. Because they're in, like, the other side of a flashback. And you think about this for literally any length of time, and it's like, right, well, I guess we're not thinking about that anymore. Speaking of not thinking about that, did the rest of the skeletons just not care?
Nah, the rest of the skeletons are going to just vibe.
I feel
it's just that one dude who is like, fuck you for taking my chest.
But, like, was the vibe not harshed? I feel like there should be revenge going on for the vibe.
Anyway, let's not worry too much about the skeleton party, and let's instead talk about the flesh spiders.
Yeah, okay, though they're worrying. I gotta give you that. I'm worried. I have concerns.
These guys don't really do anything. They just do a lot of damage. Like, they don't really have any interesting abilities or anything. The worst they do is, I think, Evil Thunder, which does like 600 or 700 damage of thunder damage, but that's about it.
It feels really wrong for flesh spiders to be so boring. I feel like they should have something going on. Also, like, I gotta say, for flesh spiders, like, okay, I can see the spider thing going on with the compound eyes and the giant abdomen, but like, there's a leg count mismatch. Like, I feel like, okay, I'm curious to know any arachnophobes we sprung this on. Does this register? Does this even appear on the spider dar?
Another foe vanquished. What a strange...
Answers, postcards, etc.
And of course, since we are back in Zarak Keep, we are still carting Zen, or Zen? I think his name's Zen. Whatever. We're the guy around, and once again, he cannot jump up any of these wing bits, so every single time that we do this, he will immediately be like, I can't do that, Soggy, go on without me.
Just the whole routine every time. Never truncating, never abbreviating.
Anyway, as usual, we need him to push that rock. But other than that, we now have to leave him behind so that we can, like, actually do the puzzle bit for this half of the dungeon.
This game seems to have a real thing with, like, dungeon progression and puzzle stuff that's, like, when you lay out the solution, it just feels incredibly, like, disconnected to look at it and see what the hell we're doing, like, what the point of any of it is. None of it really tracks. Again, with the skeletons being weird about the chest, like, what even is the theory here?
I guess, like, theoretically, the idea is supposed to be that, like, you can just slip between them because, you know, they're operating in a rhythm like that, but, you know.
The whole thing just does not gel.
I mean, admittedly, I do think it would be funny if you touched the chest and all of a sudden all four of them just, like, immediately turned and tried to attack you. But, we're gonna see something that we're gonna see a dungeon next video that is gonna be like, oh, that's a terrible idea.
Like, I don't know, that would be something. I'll take something, anything, as opposed to nothing. Like, I don't know, I feel like if you're gonna go to the trouble of having a whole thing where you've got a multiple concentric rings of skeletons having a party around the treasure chest, that there should be something to it. Something should happen. That's like, that should be some kind of a thing. Why isn't there a thing? Also, like, I don't know if it's a new thing or if I've only just noticed it, but I'm really annoyed by the word transcension. That's not a thing. It should be transcendence.
Look, the level 1 version of that tech is just called Senshin. So, there is a theory at work. It's not a great one, but there's one there.
There was an attempt, I guess.
Yeah, now that we have Transcension, by the way, that's the core of, like, Sagi's best combo, is that it's, like, 3 regular attacks immediately followed by Senshin, Ascension, Transcension. And it does a ridiculous amount of damage.
I feel like I've been hearing a lot lately in context completely unrelated to, like, either this or, like, video games or Let's Plays generally, but I feel like I've been hearing a lot lately about words that people have just come to assume are made out of other words, and people try to adapt them into new words by adapting what they think are the original words. Stuff like outrage. When you lay it all out in this game, I can see how you get... I mean, admittedly, I don't know what the hell Senshin is supposed to be, but I can see you go from, like, Senshin, Ascension, and, like, Transcension. Like, trans is a prefix that has a meaning that you can apply to other things, more or less arbitrarily. So, okay, that works, but, like, man... You're gonna have a whole progression of stuff that has to do more than sound cool. At least make it, like, weird and arcane, like, you know, the standard issue spell progression in Final Fantasy or Persona or whatever. Like, I don't know, if it all tracks... Wow, you were not kidding about that guy.
No, that dude is fucking mad that you took his chest.
Is it conditional on the chest having been like, if you hadn't taken the chest, would he still have chased you when you crossed that point?
I'm pretty sure he would have. I think it is. I think the actual thing going on there is he just has a massive detection radius. It's just like, it's very funny though, because it's very easy to get the chest, like, your first time going through there, and then he immediately just fucking aggroes on you for the entire screen every time you come through.
I mean, it's entirely plausible that that's just totally accidental, and everyone's just reading this whole thing into it, but, like, frankly, 2 concentric circles of skeletons orbiting a treasure chest should fucking mean something. So,
Anyway, one last little random encounter for the road. We have, dark goat cats, I guess, is what they are.
Uber cat kick. So, I'm guessing, yeah, gonna go with cat for that.
And then, of course, we also have the upgraded jugglers. These guys use ice instead of fire, but either way, they're fought the same way. So, they just do a bunch of dark damage. They will occasionally drop a big ice spell on you, but otherwise, they are fairly fragile, so if you knock them out quickly, the fight is not that difficult.
I've completely lost perspective on, like, what the status of the puzzling in here is. Well, like, are we still just getting through?
Oh no, we're done. Basically this area is a circle, and then you just have to direct the light up north so that you can get around with Ven.
I guess we got through.
Hey, can't you tell me what's going on now? If we're after Wiseman, we should be heading for Kuyam. This is the opposite direction.
Right, yeah, I vaguely remember we were making a very ill-advised attempt to ask for help from somebody who nobody seems to like, but nobody wants to mention who they
You're
are.
not serious, right? You know what will happen if we accept their help.
Whose help? Somebody please tell me.
The Dark Bretheren.
What?
The Dark Bretheren. We're going to ask for their power and use it to strike Wiseman down.
The Dark Bretheren. Of course, I remember now. This keep looks just like Kor Hydre, the Bretheren's castle. They taught us about it at school.
Oh, oops! We've been casually wandering around the final dungeon of the last game.
Hey.
I'm doing this. There's no
You
other
know,
way to
easy
beat him.
mistake to make.
I mean, at least the schooling is doing a thorough job, I guess.
Hear me, brethren! We have come! We have passed your trials and arrived at the heart of your domain! Answer me, brethren of darkness!
I'm in awe of how far they managed to stretch this thing without anybody mentioning who they are.
What business do you have in our abode?
We need your strength! The power to destroy anything! To erase Wiseman from this world!
What will you offer in return?
Everything I have! I want to kill Wiseman! Once he's dead, cast me into the darkness! Do whatever you want!
That will not suffice. There are 5 of you. The price is 5.
I can't pay that price! I'll give you myself! That should be more than enough!
This would have been a prime opportunity for there to be like, there are 7 of you. And they'll be like, wait, what?
Everything is what you must give.
That's what I would have done.
Fine, brother. You can have me too. That's 2 strong men you get to cast into the darkness. Happy?
Gotta say, Thorin went real
Wait.
quick from, what the
I
fuck
offer
is this and
myself
what
as
are we
well.
even doing here,
My
to,
heart and
hell
heart
yeah,
are
sign me
yours.
up for 1,000 years of darkness.
Don't forget me. The 5 of us are one. We'll never be apart.
Getting a whole lot of foreboding vibes here.
That's right. We're brethren too. Tell them you're with us, Marno.
Yeah, about that.
Let's
Think
see where
about
this
it,
goes.
Marno. Who cares what happens to us? We can prevent the world's promagnation if we just defeat Wiseman.
I don't know about
Everyone
this,
will be
Thorin. This
safe.
seems like a bad
Besides,
idea.
We'll never be apart. You know that.
Vibes are off, man.
I'm really not
Marno.
feeling this.
You won't change your mind?
At this point, the dialogue loops, so we do actually have to do this,
I
but,
knew
you
you'd
know.
stick with us.
It's cute,
can hear what
question
he's
mark,
saying.
that they at least let you be like,
I'm not saying a word.
No?
Seth,
Hang on,
you hear that? The 5 of us
I
are
need to
one.
go back and double check the video, but did Sagi just use a pronoun for us?
One family.
They've used the pronoun for us a couple times.
Accept your
I must have glossed over that.
Yeah, it came up back when we first met Varys. Varys' spirit is explicitly female, and Sagi's is explicitly male.
will not barter with the friend. Show us the power you have.
I'm just thinking it's like the
Let's give them what
given that they
want.
sometimes do that and sometimes just mute out the dialogue where it says our name is like real weird. I feel like there was a plan here and it just like didn't come together. And now the whole game's kind of just half-assing it and like it's weird. It's weird, right?
Yeah, like, they're going somewhere with this, but, like, then they just didn't for half of the dialogue.
Yeah, and it's like I think I mentioned a couple of times this game in particular, like in contrast to the first one, seems to have been a lot more like the writing in dialogue lines where somebody says our name seems to be a lot more careful in that they've usually made it so that the line still kind of about makes sense. When you blank out our name. Anyway, is there like interesting combat stuff happening?
Yes and no. So, the big boy here is just a much higher HP version of the cat chimera thing that we fought in the center room.
Got the head wings.
But he has 2 very notable things going on. The first and most obvious is Heathen Wings, which inflicts about 500 damage and a random status ailment. We got a pretty nasty one there where he froze 2 of our party members, but like, sometimes he does poison, sometimes it does burn, sometimes it'll blind you. It's kind of luck of the draw and just how fucked you get, so it's a good idea to carry around that chalice. That cures all status ailments.
Yeah, that seems like a pain to have to strategize around. Generally not a fan of that kind of thing in RPGs where like they're like the randomness makes it really weird.
The other thing that he does, which he took an embarrassingly long time to finally use so that I could get it on camera, is an attack called like Feral, it's like Feral Leash or something like that, and it just does like a shit ton of damage. It's like 1,000 damage at once to a given character. But really, the only thing that's really threatening is if you get a bad roll on the Heathen Wings.
Yeah, I can see how that kind of thing can make things go really wrong. And like, again, I do not like that the difficulty is dependent on something like that. It feels bad, man.
But yeah, other than the status ailments, the main things he does is do a lot of damage and do a lot of damage. So, not the most interesting boss in the world, but there's a theory, I guess?
I mean, there's an attempt at a theory. You can't just say there's a theory. Frankly, I don't think there's a theory, given that this whole thing seems to hinge so much on randomness. I think that's the opposite of theory. That's just rolling a dice and seeing what happens. I don't think that that's game design.
Like I said, I can see the attempt where the difficulty is that he does a lot of damage, but also like you've got to at least keep yourself reasonably like you've got to take care of the ailments on like at least some degree of urgency, because otherwise you just get smacked for 1,000 damage, and then you get in this situation where, you know, somebody gets fucked and then immediately, you know, as soon as you get them up, they just die again. But like I said, if you are even remotely kind of up on getting your party heals, it's not that big of a deal.
I don't think it's just never good when this kind of a thing is boring. Like, this is exactly the point in the game where you want to have an interesting boss that does like at least something like memorable and dramatic. Like, there's shit going on in the plot.
There, brethren.
I mean, we had an interesting boss immediately before that, and honestly, I would rather they not do that again.
Oh, there is that.
This power, it's darkness?
Yes.
Alright, well, we just got a piece of the absolute darkness power. I'm sure everything will be fine, right? Just casually gifting Sagi the power of a dark god. What's the worst that could happen?